How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Today I want to talk about why people don't want to hold Bitcoin. And it kind of hit me today. Before you click off the video or dislike it because you think I'm clickbaiting or anything, we're literally going to go over an article, 10 reasons why I will never buy Bitcoin. It hit me today that almost every single reason that people have said in the past why they wouldn't like Bitcoin is basically worthless now, especially with what's happening in the Ukraine, especially with what's happening in Canada and around the world. Almost every single argument is done for hating Bitcoin. So I'm going to explain my thoughts on it. I'm going to cover some of the top news from the day. If you guys don't mind hitting the like button and subscribe button, turn on that bell notification so you know right when I post a video. There's a link underneath the video to BlockFi as well. In case you want to start buying cryptocurrencies, they have a great BlockFi rewards card and they have an extra bonus right now too. When you sign up and use it for the first time, you get $75 back in Bitcoin. Plus you get 3.5% back for the first 3 months in Bitcoin and then 1.5% the rest of the time. So definitely check out the link. There are two links, one to the credit card, one to the actual interest account, or one to the actual account. So definitely check those out underneath the video. Now, over the last few days, I have been buying Bitcoin, and specifically Bitcoin, a few other cryptocurrencies, but specifically Bitcoin pretty heavily. We've seen a lot of decreased prices, especially earlier in the week when Ukraine was invaded, and we were seeing 34,000 Bitcoin, $34,300 Bitcoin. Now it's bounced up to about 39,000, and we've been sitting around this point since about yesterday. A lot of other cryptocurrencies are coming up too, just with the strength in Bitcoin. We still have Cardano down a good amount, but it's still up 2% on the last day. XRP is up 6%. Pretty much every cryptocurrency is up right now. Some even up double digits like Terra, which is just continuously moving up since they announced their $1 billion Bitcoin backing earlier this week, and Polkadot up 10% as well. Now, a couple things that we should cover. First of all, China's Supreme Court just declared Bitcoin transactions illegal. If caught making a transaction, violators will be criminally prosecuted with a punishment of up to 10 years in prison and fines up to $79,000. Can you imagine being in a place that makes freedom this illegal, that makes it so that you will have to spend 10 years in prison if you make a cryptocurrency transaction? This is just unbelievable, but at the same time, it is very believable coming out from China, especially with everything that's happening in the Ukraine and Russia right now. We have this coming from someone that's in Ukraine. My Ukrainian credit cards won't work anymore. I'm safe physically in Kazakhstan, but all my savings are gone. Crypto is the only money I still have, and today I can say without exaggeration that BTC, ETH, and NFTs are going to save my life while I can't come back home. This is unbelievable as well. I mean, I think this really speaks to the ability of cryptocurrency and some of the great use cases for crypto. It's a really sad thing, but it's really true that a lot of people just don't have access to their funds. We got news earlier this week about Ukraine having to limit people to $3,000 back at their banks, and also people in Ukraine can't even leave. So anyone that did get out probably doesn't want to go back in because of the fact that they can't access their money and they would have to stay there for men between 18 and 60. And I had kind of forgotten this, but it is interesting to see Ukraine is one of the largest holders of Bitcoin with about $2 billion. They have about 46,000 Bitcoin. And Bulgaria is only number one because they seized about 200,000, and it's questionable whether they still have it or not. A lot of people, it's unsure what is happening or what happened with this 200,000 after looking into it. So one thing to note is just be careful right now. Whenever there's a lot of volatility, whenever there's big news, there are people that are trying to get your money. So there are, I'm sure, going to be fake accounts for donations to Ukraine. Be careful of that. Vitalik talks about that here. Just be careful. Make sure that if you do donate, you're donating to the right place. So back to this treasury of Bitcoin. I was trying to figure out when Ukraine actually got the Bitcoin, how they got it, and I couldn't find it, but it just struck me when I was looking through here how crazy it is that, first of all, both sides are using cryptocurrency. Russia is using crypto just in case they get kicked out of the SWIFT system. A lot of people think that they're going to use Bitcoin as a new standard. And also, the Ukrainians are using it because they need donations. Their accounts are shut down, or they just don't have access to funds, and they're using it to get donations. Same thing with Canada, right? The truckers were cut off from their accounts, and they got Bitcoin as payment. And I was just looking through this, and it's amazing the ability of cryptocurrency and what it can do for people in today's day and age, especially with political unrest and issues and having to leave your country. It's amazing what's happening. And I saw this article, seizure of Bitfinex funds is a reminder that crypto is not good for money launderers. And this was a big thing that people were complaining about crypto, that it was only good for black market uses. And I saw a video today where someone asked someone on the street what they knew about Bitcoin, and they said it's good for the black market. And I thought, okay, let's look through to see why people don't actually like Bitcoin. Why don't they like crypto? Because right now, the only thing that I can think of that is a valid, maybe a valid concern for some people is the volatility of the price. That's the only thing that I can see as someone actually being legitimately cautious about putting all their money in crypto, just because they don't want to see their net worth go down, let's say 50% in a few weeks. So let's look at these 10 reasons why I'll never buy Bitcoin. And I'm just going to tear them apart. So first of all, they say the scarcity is a myth. While unlikely, community consensus could decide at some point in the future to increase Bitcoin's token count. Without any physical scarcity to speak of, a promise is all that keeps its token count from rising. So they can vote, I believe, to increase the supply of Bitcoin, but no one's going to do that. The reason that people hold value in Bitcoin is because it is scarce. That is one of the great things about it. And that's why it is the number one cryptocurrency out there. First of all, it's first. And then second of all, it's because it is immutable. You can change it, but no one's going to do that because of the fact that it would decrease the value in the token itself. No one would trust anymore. And there's a very likely possibility that it would decrease 99% or 95% if that were the case. So I don't think that would happen. That's very unlikely to happen. So they also pointed out this article. Last I checked, code can always be erased and rewritten. While it's unlikely the community consensus would be reached to increase the circulating supply of Bitcoin, the possibility of this happening isn't zero. Okay, but when there's so much upside, and let's say there's a 0.00001% chance of this actually being changed, that seems like a good risk to reward in my opinion. So they also say its real world utility is minimal. I don't even know if we have to go through this with what's happening in Ukraine and Russia. Of course, this is a specific instance, and this hasn't happened before, as far as I know, where someone or a country relied on crypto so specifically and so much because of the situation they were in and because of the government shutting down accounts. And maybe it's just because we're at that inflection point where enough people know about it that they realize how to use it. But they point out here an analysis from business funding company Fundura found that approximately 2,300 businesses accept Bitcoin. There are still more than 30 million businesses in the US, including sole proprietorships, and about 7.7 million that employ at least one other person. So they're just saying that enough people don't accept it, that it's not actually, the utility isn't there. The problem is that you can see right now that the utility isn't just in paying businesses, right? It's in peer-to-peer payments that are frictionless, that happen at any time you want without any intermediary. If you look at the number of transactions over the last year, I'm sure that you will see them exploding. And it's not just about paying businesses, because a lot of Bitcoiners think that that's awesome, just so that they could hold all their assets in Bitcoin if they can give out Bitcoin. But a lot of people that hold Bitcoin don't actually want to use it because they see it as something else. They don't see it as something they want to spend. And maybe they'll get to that point. But right now, they're using that as their piggy bank for their financial future. Also, don't forget that a vast majority of tokens aren't actually in circulation. Investors are holding onto them, which further limits Bitcoin's ability to be a medium of exchange. That's untrue because you can split it a million ways, actually 100 million, and that's one sat. So you can spend a very small fraction. That's not going to be a problem trying to spend it. the barrier to entry is almost non-existent. The barrier of entry in the crypto space is exceptionally low, meaning there could be dozens of superior alternatives to Bitcoin or its blockchain in development or available or be available for use. Yeah, I can make my own money too, but no one's going to use it, right? Because it's backed on the faith of a large network of individuals, and it's backed on the blockchain. So it's been around for 10, 12 years. No one else is coming up with something today that's going to be a Bitcoin alternative. No one can do that. No one will do that. Look at Bitcoin Cash. Look at some of the other alternatives. There's nothing that is similar to Bitcoin that people will actually use because Bitcoin is the standard. It's difficult to short sell, which leads to inefficient markets. Well, they say Bitcoin is really difficult to short sell on most platforms, which means we're not really getting anywhere true or anywhere near a true price discovery. Okay, this is probably getting easier and easier to short sell, but the fact is anyone that's trying to short sell that has any kind of significant amount of money that would actually move the markets, they're going to figure out how to short sell. It's not going to be, Joe Sixpack down the street that short sells $50 of Bitcoin that's moving the market, that makes it efficient, right? Anyone that has millions of dollars that's actually going to push the price of Bitcoin is obviously going to be able to figure out how to short sell. And we see that all the time with short sellers being liquidated. And that's just the case, that anyone that is actually going to move the market can figure out how to do it. It isn't even the best option among financial networks. Stellar can validate and settle financial transactions in mere seconds with the Lumens coin. Ethereum provides non-financial blockchain applications with the addition of smart contracts. Fact is, you can use the Lightning Network, send payments easily within a split second. Also, it's very cheap. Ethereum, it's great, it has smart contracts, but also you can build smart contracts on Bitcoin. And then down here at the bottom, we're not even going to go through all 10 because the rest aren't even important. You can look back more than a quarter of a century to the birth of the internet, business-to-business commerce, genomics, 3D printing, marijuana, and even blockchain. No matter what the next great advancement was, the bubble eventually burst. So he makes the point that whenever there's something new that's great, there's going to be a bubble that bursts. Well, I'd make the case that cryptocurrency has burst about 3 times already, or 2 times. Back in 2013, 2017, even 2020, right? The price of crypto has fallen significantly many times. So I don't know if you count that, but when you look at these great advancements, this propelled the world and made it much more efficient. Anyone that was able to take the right picks and make the right decisions made millions, if not billions of dollars. So I will take my bet on things that are going to change the world. If crypto is like the birth of the internet, business-to-business commerce, genomics, 3D printing, marijuana, and even blockchain, if they're like these other industries, they're going to do really well and they're going to become mass adopted because people are going to need them. And you can see in the world today, people are using it because there's no other alternative. As time goes on, there's less and less of me that wants to hold on to US dollars because of the fact that it is a guarantee the US dollar will depreciate, while Bitcoin will most likely appreciate. Do I want to take the 100% guarantee that the US dollar will become worth less over time, or do I want to take the good bet, whatever number you want to throw on, a 95%, 99% chance that over the next 5 years, Bitcoin's going to be worth a lot more? I'm definitely going to take the bet on cryptocurrency, and that's why I continue to dollar cost average. That's why I've been buying significantly over the last few weeks when we've seen weakness. Now, of course, like I said earlier, there's the case that there could be volatility and maybe you can get more later, which is why I do dollar cost average. That's why I do hold some money in cash in case there's a great opportunity, but it's all risk to reward. It just comes down to the fact that you have to measure out what is important to you. Do you want a 25x now? If you really think Bitcoin's going to $1 million, do you want a 25x from here? Or do you want to wait to see if you can get a 30 or 33x? That's why I hold a majority of money or a good amount of crypto already. And that's why I'm not saying all cash, but I do see that there are other possibilities, right? There are other business opportunities. There are other investments to make too. So you always have to weigh out your risk reward and figure out what's right for you. But as time goes on, I think the bear case scenarios are the reasons that people don't like Bitcoin and even some other cryptocurrencies, but I'm speaking specifically about Bitcoin. They become less and less relevant and less true over time. So let me know your thoughts on this underneath the video. Are there any good reasons not to hold Bitcoin? Let me know. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. And I will see you in the next video. Again, check out that link to BlockFi underneath. Bye.